G'day viewers, once more it's time for Totally Fucked Up Friday. Stories from around the place showing, it's not your imagination, the world seriously is totally fucked up. First, I'm going to start with a mystery, namely, what the fuck blew up in Russia? As we've all learned over the last few years, an enormous amount of people in Russia have dash cams in their car, which leads us to get all sorts of interesting videos of crashes and whatnot. But notably, when that meteor exploded over Russia, we got lots of good video of it just because of the cameras being everywhere. Well, this week, a video's come out, or several videos have come up, of an explosion. At first, everyone thought, it's another meteor exploding over Russia. But it's not. Some examination shows it was a ground-based explosion. And that opens up a whole bunch of possibilities. Some relatively innocent, some not so, and some decidedly spooky. Like, I don't know the area. Like, if there was mining or industrial stuff around there, there could have been an accident that caused the explosion. It could have been something military. They might have been testing something, or it could have been an accident in the military sense, or it could have been some nefarious types who were trying to build their own explosives, and they were either testing or had an accident. And if it's that last one, I really hope it was the old accident of, okay, you're sure you know what you're doing? Douche. But so far as I know, the Russian government has been very quiet and we don't really have any indication what it might be. So, let's wait and see what happens there. But I feel like I don't want to say too many... I've said negative things about Russia recently. And I did actually see one story. It's interesting, funny. I liked it. It's basically the headline, Russians may use reindeer to fight crime. It's like, it's perfect time of the year. It's like Santa is becoming a crime fighter. I think there's a movie in there. The authorities in some of the more remote areas of Siberia are saying it's so rough around here that not even a snowmobile can get places. They're saying some criminals already use reindeer. And it's probably completely normal for them. But for people who come from parts of the world where you're used to horses being the thing you get away on, the idea of criminals riding around in gangs of reindeer, I just love it. And then law enforcement on reindeer. I mean, seriously, Hollywood, get on this. Santa Claus crime fighter. It's got to be a thing. It would be the Christmas hit. It's obviously too late to make it this year, but, think towards the future. You've got to do Santa Saves Siberia. But now on to my regular, holy crap, the Australian government is fucked session. Now, last weekend we had the G20 in Australia, and for me and a lot of people, the high point was Obama just jumping on Tony Abbott. He didn't stand there and say, you're a piece of shit. He phrased everything positively, but he's essentially calling out your obsession with coal and your pretending climate change doesn't have to be attacked aggressively is going to doom the fucking world. He highlighted the risks faced by the Great Barrier Reef, which was not that far from where the G20 was being held. And there was just hilarious stories about Abbott absolutely shitting himself in private. He knew, although it was never said, hey, Abbott, you're a fuckwit. Everyone took it as, hey, Abbott, you're a fuckwit. And he was really upset by it, which, brings a little smile to my face. And after the fact, fairly unprecedented move, Foreign Minister Julie Bishop directly attacked Obama's statement after he'd left the country and the photo ops were done, saying, he doesn't know how much we're looking after the reef. Yeah, see, the thing is, everyone knows how much you aren't looking after the reef, including you. The hilarious bit was the fact someone bringing up, here's the government's own report that says the reef is fucked. The reef is in terrible trouble. And it's not just climate change, although that's a big issue over the next 50 years for the reef. You've got the government approving huge coal mines where they will be dumping shit straight into the ocean, which will go into the reef. And they go, no, we're looking after the reef. And a bunch of scientists stepped forward and said, no, you're fucking not. And, words like slaughtered were used, like the fact the reef is in critical danger. And the government is just fucking lying. And see, this is why they're defunding science in this country. It's, a good investment in science is absolutely necessary for the future, but it's embarrassing if you're a lying fuckwit, and this government is populated by lying fuckwits, and so they blame people who tell the truth and expose their rather hideous lies. And it's not only scientists and Obama saying they're full of shit. A lot of people forwarded me links this week of British comedian Russell Brand saying Tony Abbott's obviously a total lunatic. So, it looks like Brand graduated from the School of Observation. Yes, that is what the evidence suggests. And it doesn't really mean anything when a lefty comedian criticises a right-wing politician. But then, this week, a whole bunch of British Tories have essentially called Abbott out for being a fuckwit and saying insane shit about climate change. It's like, why the fuck is he obsessed with coal and more coal? Why is he not looking to the future? Why is he not doing something productive? What is wrong with this guy? They're calling him a Neanderthal and a flat earther, and they're just saying, what is wrong with this guy? It's like he's rapidly becoming, this Australian government is rapidly becoming a minority of one with, I think the more power Republicans in the US get, the more we'll hear more people saying really stupid shit like this. But yeah, when the British Tories are actually saying, yeah, actually, you're a fucking moron, it might be time to reassess. It's like, oh, people are actually calling me on lies. Maybe I should. And the funny thing is, he actually knows how poison he is. Tony Abbott knows how poison he is. There's a state election in a week here where I live in Victoria, and there's no doubt the sitting Conservative government are going to lose. They're just paranoid they're going to get slaughtered. They know they can't win, but they don't want to get absolutely wiped out. And as such, Tony Abbott is invisible. He is not campaigning with the state premier. It's kind of like in the US where Democrats in the midterms tried to distance themselves from Obama. It's really quite funny to see. It's like, yeah, I know you run the country and we're theoretically the same party, but no, stay away from me. So it's like even Abbott actually knows that he's poison to people. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe he'll actually start listening. No, he won't. And look, I don't want to suggest that it's only one side of politics that's populated by idiots either. There's a guy in Australia called Mark Latham. He used to head the other side of politics, the Labor Party. He was only ever opposition leader. He never won an election. He went up against John Howard and lost. And, well, he was nuts, okay? Even back then, it was like, how did he get to be party leader? He's nuts. There was this one crazy bit of video where it's like, the election's on, I'm gonna shake the Prime Minister's hand, have a good... And it was the craziest fucking shake you've ever seen. Now, I for one think it might have been amusing to have a Prime Minister who was just stark raving nuts, but it never happened. And like a lot of people who wanted high office and never got it, now he's nobody. He likes to mouth off and say extreme things to get attention. He's dumped all over his own party repeatedly, and it's just like, pay attention to me. And this week he published an opinion piece where it was just bizarre. He's gone, because he said, oh look, this left-wing woman's talking about the struggles of working life and kids caused her to have clinical depression, and she's on antidepressants. And Latham, in a supreme bout of idiocy, goes, oh, that's awful and weak. The complete opposite of what you should do with someone who's admitting to having difficulties and actually take steps to deal with it, criticising them for taking the logical steps. And it went downhill from there. He went on with this bizarre fantasy of, it's these educated lefty women professionals who are the problem. Out where I am in the glorious working class suburbs, the women don't have any problems. They're not on antidepressants. They are, in fact, statistically, women in lower socioeconomic areas have higher rates of depression than well-off and educated women. So he's not just being an arsehole, he's saying the opposite of the truth. And I know when some idiot says something like this, people like to compare him to like Grandpa Simpson with, old man shakes fist at sky or wears onions on his belt, as is the fashion of the day. But Latham is gone way over into, he's wearing a nappy full of shit and he's just squelching around in there playing with it and holding up handfuls occasionally saying, look at this amazing insight I have, look at me, aren't I special? You can laugh when a toddler does that. Not quite so funny when an adult does it. So yeah, shut the fuck up, Mark Latham. You really are a fucking idiot. But having said that, I do reserve most of my ire for the actual government, the Conservatives in this country. One last thing, I've brought this up before. Prior to the last election, Tony Abbott, who became Prime Minister, point blank said in one interview, he told 5 massive lies in a row. Wouldn't touch pensions, wouldn't touch ABC, wouldn't touch SBS, a couple other things, and he's broken every one of them. Everyone knew they were planning aggressive cuts on the ABC and SBS here in Australia, and they've formally announced this week about $250 million in cuts to the ABC. And that would be bad enough, just such a flagrant lie. But they love compounding it by going, no, it's not a cut. No, we didn't lie. So, and again, I know all politicians do this. They go, oh no, that's not a tax. I know I said no taxes, but this is not a tax. This is a levy. This is like, hey, we're cutting $250 million from your funding, but it's not a cut. It's an efficiency dividend. The finance minister, Mathias Cormann, is going, no, it's not a cut. We've just cut it from them. But it's not a cut. And this is what fucking gets me. Look, it's one thing. Politicians lie. And I'm never particularly surprised when they do. And politicians are partisan and will push their own thing. And the Conservatives have a real problem with the ABC, and they were always going to attack the ABC. But to have these smug fucking shits stand up here and go, oh, okay, remember when we said we weren't going to give you a shit sandwich? Here's a shit sandwich. And smile, you fuckers. Take this shit sandwich, choke it down, and fucking smile while you do it.